The Dark Arrival. The Galactic Assembly had ruled over 73 star systems for 12,000 years. Their power was absolute, their technology unmatched, their confidence unshakable, until the day darkness arrived at their doorstep. Commander Zarak of the Syrian Defense Force was the first to notice something wrong. His sensor station orbited at the edge of assembly space, monitoring for threats that never came. The job was prestigious but boring, watching endless streams of data that showed nothing but cosmic dust and distant stars. He had been on duty for 6 standard hours when his primary scanner flickered. Sensor malfunction in Grid 7, his lieutenant reported, adjusting controls with practiced efficiency. Zarak frowned. Run diagnostics. These systems don't just. The words died in his throat as every screen in the command center went black. Not powered down, not displaying errors, but showing pure darkness as if space itself had been erased. "Sir, we're still receiving telemetry," the lieutenant said, voice tight with confusion. "But there's nothing there. It's like a section of space just vanished." Zarak leaned forward, studying the anomaly. The darkness wasn't empty space. It was something else, something that absorbed all light, all radiation, all attempts to scan it. As he watched, the darkness began to move, sliding through the void like oil through water. "Calculate trajectory," he ordered, though he already feared the answer. "It's heading directly for Xirian Prime, sir. Estimated arrival in 14 hours. The capital world, home to 50 billion souls, and the seat of the Assembly's power." Zarak's hand trembled as he activated the emergency beacon. Whatever was coming, it was beyond anything in their databases. On Xirian Prime, the Assembly convened in their crystalline towers that scraped the purple sky. 12 species, each representing their respective empires, gathered around a holographic display showing Zarak's data. The darkness continued its steady approach, now close enough for orbital telescopes to attempt visual confirmation. "Enhance Section 4, commanded Prelate Voss, the Assembly's military advisor. The image zoomed in, revealing nothing but blackness. "Try infrared," suggested Counselor Thren, her feathers rustling with agitation. The view shifted spectrums, and for a moment they saw it. A shape within the darkness, massive beyond comprehension. Angular, predatory, covered in what looked like scales or armor plating. Then the image distorted, as if the object itself rejected observation. "How large is it?" someone whispered. "Initial estimates suggest approximately 15 kilometers in length," the technician replied, voice barely audible. A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. The largest warship in the Assembly fleet measured just under 3 kilometers. This thing was 5 times that size. "Deploy the third fleet," Prelate Voss ordered. "Full defensive formation around Xirian Prime." The third fleet was the pride of the Assembly. 200 ships equipped with the latest weapons and shields. They moved into position with military precision, forming a protective barrier between the approaching darkness and their capital world. Admiral Kex commanded from the flagship Dominant Supremacy. His crew watched their sensors as the anomaly drew closer, now visible as a solid black shape against the stars. "All ships, weapons hot. Prepare tow." A signal cut through their communications, not on any known frequency, not using any recognized protocol, but somehow reaching every receiver simultaneously. It spoke in perfect Assembly standard, though the voice carried an accent none had heard before. "Galactic Assembly. Earth remembers." The transmission ended as abruptly as it began. In the council chambers, historians frantically searched their archives. Earth. The name triggered ancient memories, stories told in whispers. Earth was a primitive world. Counselor Thren said slowly, "We made first contact 900 years ago. They were barely space-capable." "What happened to them?" asked another counselor. Thren's feathers flattened against her body. "We quarantined them. They showed aggressive tendencies. The Assembly voted to isolate their system until they evolved past their violent nature." The darkness was now close enough to see with naked eyes from Xirian Prime's surface. Citizens gathered in streets and on rooftops, pointing at the black shape that blocked out stars. Admiral Kex ordered his fleet to advance. Unidentified vessel, you are entering restricted space. Reverse course immediately, or we will open fire. No response came. The dark ship continued its approach, unhurried, inevitable. Sir, Kex's tactical officer reported, I'm detecting energy signatures from that vessel. The readings they don't match anything in our database. The power output is off the scale. Fire warning shots, Kex commanded. Show them we mean business. The dominant supremacy's main guns charged and fired. Brilliant beams of energy lanced through space toward the intruder. They struck its hull and simply disappeared. No explosion, no damage, no reflection. The darkness swallowed the energy as if it had never existed. All ships, open fire, Kex shouted. 200 warships unleashed their arsenals. The space between the fleet and the dark ship filled with enough firepower to crack a moon. Missiles, energy weapons, kinetic rounds, all converged on their target. The dark ship's hull seemed to ripple. Suddenly, every projectile and energy beam reversed course, heading back toward the fleet at twice their original speed. Ships exploded in sequence as their own weapons turned against them. In 60 seconds, the Third Fleet ceased to exist. Admiral Kex's final transmission was a single word: impossible. The darkness settled into orbit around Sirian Prime. Now that it was stationary, observers could make out more details. The ship wasn't just black. It was covered in geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its hull, and massive weapon ports remained sealed but visible. In the council chambers, panic reigned. Some members called for evacuation, others for negotiation, a few for surrender. None knew what Earth had become in 9 centuries of isolation. Then came the second transmission. Galactic Assembly. 900 years ago, you judged us unworthy. You trapped us in our system with gravity mines and interdiction fields. You condemned 3 billion humans to imprisonment for the crime of defending ourselves. The voice paused, letting the words sink in. We broke free 200 years ago. We've been watching, learning, building. Now we're here to discuss your judgment. Prelate Voss stepped forward, activating the communication array. This is Prelate Voss of the Galactic Assembly. We are prepared to discuss terms. Terms. The voice carried a tone that might have been amusement. We're not here to negotiate, Prelate. We're here to inform you that Earth's quarantine is over, and we've decided to return the favor. The dark ship's hull began to change. Sections shifted and rearranged, revealing weapons of impossible design. Energy readings spiked beyond measurement. You imprisoned us for 900 years, the voice continued. We've decided on a shorter sentence for you. The Xerian system is now under quarantine. Any ship attempting to leave will be destroyed. Any communication with other systems will be blocked. You have 50 years to evolve past your arrogance. You can't. Councillor Thrin shrieked. We are the Galactic Assembly. We command 73 systems. 72, the voice corrected. We've already visited your military command at Kelos Station. They chose to fight. Only Debris remains. The council fell silent. Kelos Station had been their most fortified position, home to the First Fleet. If it had fallen, the ship you see is called Retribution, the voice said. It's the smallest vessel in Earth's fleet. We have hundreds more, each designed during our imprisonment, each built with one purpose: ensuring no species ever again decides the fate of another. The dark ship's weapons powered down, but it remained in orbit, a permanent shadow over Xerian Prime. Your quarantine begins now. Use your time wisely. Earth will be watching. As the transmission ended, smaller objects launched from the Retribution. They took positions throughout the system, generating an energy field that sealed Xerian Prime and its sister worlds from the rest of the galaxy. The Assembly's reign had ended not with war, but with a reflection of their own judgment. They had imprisoned Earth for being dangerous. Now Earth had returned to show them what dangerous truly meant. Humanity's reckoning. 3 days passed before the full scope of Earth's return became clear. Across the galaxy, assembly worlds reported similar visitations. Dark ships appeared without warning, delivered their ultimatums, and established quarantine zones around any system that had participated in Earth's original isolation. On Vega Station, the Assembly's secondary command center, chaos reigned. Military commanders, political leaders, and scientists crowded into emergency sessions, trying to comprehend how a species they had dismissed as primitives had developed technology that defied their understanding. Director Kalin, a veteran of 500 years of service, stood before holographic displays showing the deployment of Earth's fleet. Red markers indicated quarantine systems, and their number grew hourly. Analysis suggests at least 400 Earth vessels are currently active, reported the intelligence officer. Each one demonstrates capabilities beyond anything in our records. How? Kalin demanded. How did they advance so quickly? Dr. Yen, the Assembly's chief historian, cleared his throat nervously. We may have miscalculated. The humans we encountered 900 years ago had just discovered faster than light travel, but they had something we didn't recognize. Adaptability under pressure. Explain, Kalin ordered. When we quarantined Earth, we expected them to stagnate or destroy themselves. Instead, the isolation forced them to innovate. They couldn't expand outward, so they expanded inward. They couldn't trade with other species, so they perfected resource recycling. They couldn't rely on anyone else, so they pushed the boundaries of science and engineering beyond what we thought possible. A new transmission interrupted the discussion. This time, the signal came with video. The screen showed a human, middle-aged with gray hair and piercing eyes. Unlike the formal military uniforms the Assembly expected, she wore simple civilian clothes. I am Director Sarah Chen of the Earth Reclamation Council, she said. I speak for humanity. Kalin stepped forward. Director Chen, I am Director Kalin of the Assembly. We demand an explanation for these aggressive actions. Chen's expression didn't change. Aggressive. We've harmed no one who didn't fire first. We've simply implemented the same policy you enforced on us. The difference is we're giving you 50 years instead of 900. This is an act of war, Kalin declared. No, Chen replied calmly. War implies conflict between equals. This is correction. For 9 centuries, you decided which species were worthy of freedom. You judged us violent because we refused to surrender our sovereignty. Now we're showing you the price of that arrogance. She gestured, and the display behind her showed historical footage. Images of Earth during the quarantine. Cities adapting to isolation. Scientists working in underground laboratories. Generation ships being built in hidden facilities. You thought isolation would break us. Instead, it forged us into something stronger. Every challenge you created, we overcame. Every limitation you imposed, we transcended. And while you remained static, secure in your superiority, we evolved. The footage changed, showing massive construction yards in space, research facilities studying captured assembly technology, and training centers where humans learn to operate systems far beyond their original capabilities. We reverse-engineered your quarantine technology, Chen continued. Improved it, made it unbreakable. Your own creation, perfected by those you deemed unworthy. Kalin's pride battled with growing fear. What do you want? Credits, resources, territory. Chen shook her head. We want nothing from you. This isn't about gain. It's about justice and education. Education. You need to learn what we learned, that no species has the right to imprison another. That diversity of thought and approach makes the galaxy stronger, not weaker. That sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is corner a species that refuses to surrender. The transmission flickered, and new data appeared on the assembly screens. Technical specifications for Earth's quarantine field, detailed enough to show it was indeed based on their own technology, but enhanced beyond recognition. "We're providing you with complete information about your prison," Chen said. "Study it. Learn from it. Understand that this is what you did to us, and consider whether any species deserves such treatment." "And after 50 years?" Callan asked, his voice barely steady. "After 50 years, we'll evaluate whether you've learned, whether you've changed, whether you're ready to rejoin a galaxy where no single authority decides the fate of others." The weight of the situation finally settled on the Assembly's leadership. They weren't facing conquest or destruction. They were facing justice administered by those they had wronged. "You planned this for 200 years, Callan said, not a question, but a realization. "Every detail," Chen confirmed. "Every ship, every strategy, every word of this conversation. We knew that one day we would free ourselves, and when we did, we would ensure it never happened again. Not to us, not to anyone." Behind her, the display showed more Earth ships arriving at assembly worlds. Each one took position with mechanical precision, establishing quarantine zones that cut off all interstellar travel and communication. "The galaxy will fracture without us," Callan protested. "Trade routes will collapse. Alliances will fail. Perhaps," Chen acknowledged, "or perhaps it will adapt as we did. Perhaps new powers will rise, new alliances form, new ways of thinking emerge. The galaxy survived before the assembly. It will survive after." She leaned forward, her eyes hardening. "You convinced yourselves that order required control, that peace demanded submission. We're going to show you a different path. In 50 years, when the quarantine lifts, you'll emerge into a galaxy that has moved beyond your influence. You'll have to earn your place, not demand it." The transmission began to fade, but Chen's final words echoed through the station. "Welcome to equality, Assembly. May you learn from it better than you taught it." As the connection severed, alarms began sounding throughout Vega Station. The quarantine field was expanding, encompassing not just individual systems, but creating barriers between assembly territories. Within hours, the mighty Galactic Assembly found itself fragmented into isolated pockets, each facing the same choice: evolve or become irrelevant. On Earth, in a command center buried beneath the Rocky Mountains, Sarah Chen removed her communication headset. Around her, operators monitored the deployment of humanity's fleet, tracking the successful implementation of each quarantine zone. "Phase 2 complete, Director," reported the chief operator. "All primary assembly systems are now isolated." Chen nodded, looking at a wall display showing the galaxy. Where once the assembly's territory showed as a unified block of blue, now it appeared as scattered islands of red, each surrounded by the impenetrable fields Earth had deployed. "Begin Phase 3, she ordered. "Contact the non-assembly worlds. Let them know the galaxy has changed." As her staff worked, Chen walked to an observation window looking out at Earth's night sky. For 900 years, those stars had been a reminder of their prison. Now they represented something else. A galaxy where no species would again face the isolation Earth had endured. The age of the assembly was over. The age of equality had begun. And humanity, forged in the crucible of unjust isolation, stood ready to ensure it would never be reversed. The greatest prison ever built had created its own destroyers. The greatest authority ever established had cultivated its own judges. And in the end, the powerful learned what the powerless had always known: that justice, delayed but not denied, carries a weight that no force in the galaxy can resist.